Okay, so today we're exploring landscape painting and how to apply some techniques to create something from an image or from being outside, looking out your window, looking out at the beach scene, whatever kind of scene it is. I've chosen this picture here because there's some really nice solid blocks of color that we can easily start to establish. So the first thing we want to do is make ourselves a backdrop color. So these big blocks, we've got blue in the top section of this image, and we've got yellow down the bottom and a bit of green as well. So what I can do is just draw in that horizon line on my canvas. And you can use a canvas or you can use thick paper. You can get thick paper from like card paper from a newsagent, pretty cheap price. Or you can get canvas paper as well from most craft stores and dollar stores, discount stores, have a nice art section. So I've got my horizon line in there, and now I'm going to fill this area here with a blue that I'm going to create. Paint is always going to dry slightly darker as well. So keep that in mind, just that it's not an exact science, but just to know that whenever we're painting, when it's wet, it looks lighter. And when it's dry, it goes darker. So we can just start brushing that onto the canvas. And we can just keep doing that. Same goes for the yellow area. So we're going to get a new brush, mix our kind of a lighter yellow, bit of white in there. So we can just begin by applying that across, using our pencil mark as a guide to where our horizon is. And just keep doing that, and then you're going to have to let this dry. If you put it out in the sun, it shouldn't take more than half an hour, 20 minutes to dry in direct sunlight. It can also be fun just to mix it on the canvas as well itself. This is just an undercoat. This is just a layer to give us a nice background to work from. Nice tone. Okay, so now we've let this dry. This is the blue and the yellow of our image here. We're just looking at it up close. Put it here. We're going to start to use our pencil to sketch in some of those other details so we can look at it. Try to portion out how all those details are working, where those lines go. This needs to be really light. It doesn't have to be perfect, it's just to give you a sense of where things are going to be located. You know, where it's going back, looking at it carefully. Again, this is just your inspiration, it doesn't have to be an exact copy. Once we have all our drawing done, you're going to start to look at the highlights and the low highlights. So that we want to establish them first. We want to fill them in first. Looking at where those highlights are on that cloud and just actually applying the lightness of that edge. Again, this is about layers. It's about letting things dry and being patient, not trying to do everything all at once. Because when we have the layers, we can start to build more depth, more dimension. I'm going to get myself some, it's not quite black, it's very dark, but it's like a brown ochre color. So I'm going to try and find some of that. Now you've got different brushes here. It's good to have a little set of different size brushes. Obviously with painting, there's these large groups, these fields of color. It's nice to have a big wide flat brush. But for finer detail work like this, just using a small round brush is going to help to get you the definition that you need. So I'm going to mix this with some black. You don't need very much black usually. Black goes a long way. Things just become very, very dark if we use too much black, and there's not a lot of dark in landscape. You'll find sometimes if you're using a smaller brush, the paint kind of runs out quickly. So one way to get around that is to actually use water with your paint, and it'll spread it. It thins out the paint, but it spreads your coverage and it makes the line edge smoother. If you don't have a palette at home like this, you can use something like this. So this is just a big piece of card or styrofoam. It's good to have a sort of a waterproof surface, but essentially what you can do is mix your colors on here. So the yellow, see, I'm already making green there just with the blue and yellow together. I want to get my balance right because it's quite dark grass, it's sort of brownish grass. I'm going to take a touch of black and see how that works. That makes it a bit better. It's nice that it's not fully mixed. You get these little details, these little sort of variations. Where the yellow is a little bit brighter in some spots, and you can see that in the image up close to. There's sort of some orange tones as well, so I can actually take a little bit of brown and I can use the canvas as my mixing palette. That's one way to go too. And it's all good because it's just a layer. So if you don't like it, when it's dry, you can go over it, you can change it. That's how I'm making all of my colors, just by combining my primaries together with some white or black. So piece by piece, I'm just creating what I'm seeing here. Excellent. So there's also a range of flat brushes that are a bit smaller than that first one I was using, which can be really handy for filling in large areas like this. Let's just see how that's just much easier just going on. You have that nice straight edge at the bottom so you can match up to the other. Okay, so I've been working away at this now, and I've been layering it and building and adding colors and just slightly mixing and changing things. And I'm at the cloud stage now, looking at the shadows within those clouds. And it's all just fluctuations of black and white mixing together. That's what I'm focused on. I'm looking at pulling some white and just tiny amounts of black and seeing what that gives me, because there's not a lot of, there's no dark black in these shadows of these clouds. It's all sort of midtones and highlights. So it's the middle of the day, it's all sunny out there. I'm just gonna keep adding my details in here. So I'm looking at where those darkest parts of that cloud in there are. Add into that. And this is just about taking your time and looking at your image over and over again, looking at where it all comes together, where it all fits. You can have a lot of fun practicing with that and just playing with that, and not necessarily when you start out painting from an actual scene. You can just start to play with mixing black and white together and seeing how many different kinds of grey you get. Just endless amounts. And the more you do it, the better you get, you know? You just start to get a feel for it. Start to trust yourself. It's always good though to have some nice tools. So a good range of brushes is not that expensive. They'll last you forever. Just having, you know, enough to do what you want to do. There you go. So I can just keep on going like this. Just keep playing, and there's no There's no time limits. There's no need to rush it. Just as long as you're interested and as long as you want to keep going, keep going.